Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into some pretty significant pre-budget news out of Ottawa. These were announced October 10th, and it really boils down to three main areas: affordability, getting benefits out the door, and, well, accessibility. So our mission today, let's unpack the three big pillars Prime Minister Mark Carney laid out. We're talking about the automatic tax filing system they've been promising for a while. Then there's making the National School Food Program permanent. And finally, they're bringing back the Canada Strong Pass.
Yeah, and it's interesting how they're framing this. The language is all about generational investments, pragmatic decisions. The idea, or at least the stated goal, is to really help the country's most vulnerable citizens, help people get ahead, essentially remove barriers.
Yeah. Okay, let's tackle that first one then, the automatic tax filing, or ATF. It sounds like a big technical project. Why is the CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency, even doing this? What's the core problem?
Well, the fundamental problem is that a lot of Canadians, especially those with lower incomes, simply don't file tax returns. Now, legally, if you owe taxes, you have to file. But many people, maybe they only worked part-time or received benefits. They figure, I don't owe the government anything, so they just don't file.
Right. They think no tax owing, no need to file.
Exactly. But that's the trap, because filing is the key to unlocking a whole range of really important credits and benefits. We're talking the GST-HST credit, the Canada Child Benefit, the Workers' Benefit, the new Canadian Disability Benefit, the Disability Tax Credit, you name it. Access often hinges on that annual filing.
And the government provided a really stark example, didn't they, to show just how much money is potentially being left on the table.
They did, and it's powerful. They talked about a single parent with two young kids earning maybe $15,000 part-time. If that person files their taxes, they could actually be eligible for up to, wait for it, $25,000 in combined federal and provincial benefits.
$25,000, that's huge. Life-changing, really.
Absolutely. And it's inaccessible just because of the hurdle of filing a tax return, or maybe just not knowing you need to file to get benefits.
And just for a bit of background, this isn't a brand new concept, right? We've heard about automatic filing before.
That's right. The previous government mentioned it back in the 2020 throne speech. Then the current government made a formal commitment in the 2023 budget. So the idea's been kicking around. What's new now is the detail, the actual program name, Simple File, and the rollout plan.
Okay, Simple File. So we know why it's needed. That potential $25,000 is a huge motivator. Let's get into the how. How is the CRA actually going to do this? Pre-fill returns.
Pretty much. Simple File leverages the data the CRA already receives, T4 slips from employers, information about government benefits paid out. They use that to prepare a basic return for eligible individuals.
And what's the scale they're aiming for? And when does this actually start?
Okay, so the plan is to start rolling this out for the 2026 tax year. That's the filing season in early 2027. And the ambition is pretty big. They're projecting they can cover up to 5.5 million low-income Canadians by the 2028 tax year, so by the filing season in 2029.
Wow, 5.5 million.
Yeah, but it's phased. They're talking about maybe 1 million people covered for the 2026 tax year, then ramping up to 2.5 million for 2027, and hitting that 5.5 million target for 2028.
Okay, that sounds impressive, but there have got to be limits, right? Who exactly qualifies for this? What does a simple tax situation actually mean in the CRA's eyes?
Right, and this is crucial. The eligibility is, well, quite specific. First, your personal info, address, and whatnot needs to be up to date with the CRA. That's basic.
Makes sense.
But here's the main thing: stability. Your situation needs to be largely unchanged from the previous year. So no changes in marital status, no new dependents, no dependents leaving the household.
Okay. So consistency year over year is key.
Very key. And your income sources have to be simple, too. Basically, income the CRA gets automatic data for. Think T4 employment slips, pension income, government benefits like OAS or CPP, or income from RRSPs shown on slips.
So who doesn't qualify then? Who still needs to file the old-fashioned way?
Well, quite a few people, actually. If you're self-employed, even with a small side gig, you're out. Same if you have rental income or any capital gains to report.
Okay.
Also, if you need to claim new deductions or credits that weren't on last year's return, or even if you're just moved to a different province, you'll need to file a traditional return yourself.
That seems like it could exclude a lot of the very people who need help the most. People with precarious work, maybe moving frequently, family situations changing.
That's definitely a challenge they'll face. This system, at least initially, is really designed for those with the most straightforward, stable situations. Like, think maybe a senior's only income is OAS and CPP and hasn't moved.
Right. It catches the easiest cases first.
Exactly. It's a starting point, a potentially powerful one. but it won't automatically solve the filing issue for everyone living in poverty or with complex lives.
You mentioned Simple File is the program name. I saw something about an invitation-only pilot using that name. How does that fit in? Is that different?
Yeah, the Simple File name seems to cover the whole initiative, but they are running specific pilots, particularly targeting people who've never filed or who have big gaps in their filing history. It's invitation only because the CRA is proactively identifying people based on their records who look like they should be getting benefits but aren't filing.
And how are they making that accessible, especially for people who might not be online or comfortable with tech?
Good question. They've outlined 3 ways to interact with this Simple File pilot. First, there's Simple File by phone. It sounds like an automated system where you just give short answers to prompts over the phone, and boom, your return is filed. No computer needed.
Okay, interesting.
Second, Simple File by paper. They'll actually send out pre-filled paper forms, and they specifically mentioned this will be available for all Indigenous communities, which addresses a key accessibility concern.
That's important.
And third, there's Simple File Digital, which is a secure online portal for those who prefer that, or maybe for tax preparers helping someone.
So multiple pathways. It sounds like they've thought about not letting the how become another barrier.
That certainly seems to be the intention. And they mentioned doing quite broad consultations leading up to this, talking to individuals, community groups, academics, even the tax software industry. That consultation just wrapped up October 9th.
Trying to get the kinks worked out before that 2026 launch.
You'd hope so. Getting it right for potentially 5.5 million people is a massive undertaking.
Okay, let's shift gears. From getting money into people's pockets via tax filing, let's talk about reducing costs directly. The National School Food Program becoming permanent.
Yes, this is the second major pillar. And the key word here is permanent. They're committing $216 million per year, permanently, starting in the 2029-30 fiscal year. So this isn't just a temporary fund, it's baked into future budgets.
That signals a long-term commitment. Now, this program itself isn't brand new, right? Budget 2024 set it up initially.
Correct. Budget 2024 allocated $1 billion over 5 years to get it started. The initial target was ambitious. Help feed an extra 400,000 kids each year.
And logistically, how ready is this to become permanent? Have they got the provinces and territories lined up? Because that's usually the tricky part in Canada.
Apparently, yes. The announcement stated that as of March 2025, they had signed bilateral agreements with all provinces and territories. Getting those agreements done is huge. It means the framework for distributing funds and running the programs collaboratively is actually in place. That groundwork makes the shift to permanent funding much smoother.
So bringing it back to families, what does this mean day to day, besides the obvious benefit of kids getting healthy food at school?
Well, the government put a number on the grocery savings. They estimate that making this permanent will save a family with 2 school-aged children about $800 per year on their grocery bills.
$800? That's not insignificant, especially with food prices being what they are.
No, it's definitely not. And think about combining these things. If that hypothetical single parent gets their $25,000 in benefits through Simple File and saves $800 on lunches, it starts to add up to real financial relief.
It provides a buffer, some predictability.
Exactly. Predictability against volatile food costs is a big deal for household budgeting.
All right, let's move to the third piece announced, bringing back the Canada Strong Pass. This one feels a bit different, less about basic needs, more about access and maybe discovery.
Yeah, it blends affordability with promoting culture and travel, especially for young people. So the news is it's being renewed for 2 specific windows. First, for the upcoming holiday season, December 12, 2025 to January 15, 2026, and then it's coming back again for the entire summer of 2026.
And remind us, what does the pass actually give you access to?
It offers free or reduced admission to a pretty wide range of places. National museums, provincial museums, territorial museums, plus historic sites and parks managed at all those levels.
So it's not just the big federal museums in Ottawa or Gatineau.
No, and that's important. Including provincial and territorial sites means it has broader reach, potentially boosting local tourism and access in smaller communities too.
And there was a travel component too, right? Something with VIA Rail.
Yes, specifically aimed at young adults, those aged 18 to 24. The pass includes a 25% discount on VIA Rail travel.
Okay, so helping younger people travel between cities, maybe visit family over the holidays, or explore during the summer.
Exactly. It tackles the cost barrier of train travel for students or young people maybe just starting out who might not have cars. It directly links that cultural access piece with making the travel to get there more affordable.
Do we know if this actually works? Does it get more people through the doors or onto trains?
We do have some data from the last time it was offered. According to the announcement, the pass led to an average 15% increase in attendance across the participating national museums,
15%, okay.
which suggests, yeah, cost is a barrier, and removing it does encourage people to visit. And on the travel side, the VIA rail discount generated over 50,000 train bookings last summer among that 18 to 24 age group.
50,000 bookings. So that discount clearly spurred quite a bit of travel.
It seems so. It confirms there's demand there, and the price incentive made a difference. It's sort of an investment in getting young people to see more of the country.
Okay, so that wraps up the three main announcements we wanted to break down today. We've got the Simple File automatic tax filing aiming to unlock benefits, the National School Food Program becoming a permanent fixture for cost relief and food security, and the Canada Strong Pass returning to boost access to culture and travel. And it's crucial to remember these are all pre-budget announcements. The full federal budget for 2025 is still coming, scheduled to be tabled on Tuesday, November 4th.
Right. These set the stage, signaling priorities. And, thinking particularly about that automatic tax filing, it represents a really interesting shift. It's moving the burden of complex paperwork away from the individual, especially the vulnerable individual, and onto the government systems. If the CRA can figure out how to use its data to get potentially $25,000 into the hands of a low-income family without them having to navigate the whole tax system, well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other government services, what other essential benefits may be applying for student aid or disability support or housing assistance could be radically simplified? Could more things become automatic, ensuring support reaches everyone who's eligible? Maybe that kind of simplification is the real generational investment to watch.